My children joke that I'm never invited to Parents' Day, at school because what am I going to talk about? And they definitely never look at my phone because there's nothing but pictures of penises all over it. I'm a urologist in Miami, Florida. We specialize in sexual medicine, specifically the surgical treatment of erectile dysfunction. When it comes to the surgical treatment of erectile dysfunction, truly, there's only one operation that is both safe and efficacious, and that's the placement of a penile prosthesis.
I think many men are embarrassed with ED, and I think it takes them a long time to search out some sort of a solution to it. But keep in mind, most men don't know this is a solution. They think it's the pills or a pump, and that's it.
Impotence leads to a short penis. You're gonna lose about an inch of your penis every year. You're impotent. So the sooner you get to a definitive treatment, the better. Penile prostheses are covered by many insurance plans. Many. People sometimes go, oh my God, I can't believe Medicare pays for penile prosthesis. Well, it's an organ that has stopped functioning. Breast implants are purely aesthetic. The penis is an organ. When it comes to cash pay, it'll range anywhere from 15 to 35, 40,000. This is the inflatable penile prosthesis. Spanish people call it la bombita. Why? They call it la bombita because this is the bomb, the little bomb that sits in your scrotum. The cylinders go into the penis. The pump goes into the scrotum. When you want to have sex, all you do is you pump your third testicle. And it doesn't hurt. You just keep pumping it. And like a bicycle pump, the harder that gets, the harder your penis gets. So I teach guys, you gotta use two thumbs, get two thumbs on it so you can get it as hard as you possibly can. So once it's fully inflated, then it actually feels just like the penis used to it. You have a penetrating erect penis. So these are indestructible.
That's right, bitches.
If you poll boys the age of 15 and ask how many have hung a towel on their hard penis, I would say close to 100%. And you'd be surprised the number of guys that, for them, that's their benchmark that they've had a good result. Not necessarily the coitus that's supposed to follow.
Many of the patients that come for implants are older that have married younger women, that are 20, 25 years younger than them.
Rick, Paris.
And they come to the office and listen, I'm going to lose my wife if you don't fix me, and we fix him, and they're very, very happy.
What do you got? Please, office is yours.
I told Paul if you wanted me to, I would kill 10 6-year-old blind girls for you. Okay? Because that's how much he's improved my life. Let's tell them about Truly Blessed. That's why she got that.
I've been blessed to, still be able to be with my partner, be with my significant other, and still have a very great sex life.
In her case, she's kind of been there and done that, and she can basically tell you that this is a good thing.
It is a good thing.
Okay? It's the real deal. I know that she will never go unsatisfied. It won't happen. Can't happen. Paul really is all that. He's that good. Oh, I've been out with him a ton of times. Oh yeah, we've gotten lots of trouble together. We used to do South Beach, and we used to do this rave club downtown, and Paul's still young and young at heart. And it seems when I'm with him, it's a little bit contagious.
These patients become part of a club. It really is a club. And you'll see, one guy bring in 5 of his friends, and all 5 of those guys want to get done on the same day. And we're not treating, things that are sad. We're treating things that are, really end up with a very happy ending. Sounds bad, but. It's a fraternity of men, all ages, 21 to 92, that come to this office, smoke cigars on the patio. They get to drink, they get to smoke, they get to do whatever the fuck they want. It's truly a fun environment. My training program started about 6 years ago. You know, right now we're just trying to train as many guys as we can on how to do this safely and predictably. And to tell you, meet the guys that are going into it are just, they're young, crazy, wonderful, you know, smart. I was just crazy, not that smart. Had what my dad called ass power. I just sat down and worked harder than anybody. My Latin patients, I call it chorizo, which means sausage, and they love it. I go, sácalo su chorizo, that means take out your sausage. Or I'll go, sácalo su monstruo, which means take out your monster. And they'll go, oh, mi monstrico, meaning my little monster, you know, because it's shrunk. I know, pobrecito. We have cases tomorrow of Peyronie's disease, meaning crooked penises. Somebody sits on it wrong and misses. They're fully erect and they miss whatever hole they're going for. Okay? And then you can actually break the penis. Disasters. And actually, I did a study when I was at Jackson. 100% of those people, somebody was high. Because you have to be high. From a reflexogenic standpoint, you move, you know, if you're going to miss, or, you know, but 100% were high, right? When I did this with the cosmetic surgeons, they were like, yeah, you know, they do 300,000 breast implants in the United States every year. We do 20,000 penile implants. I do 500, right? So if I'm doing 500, there's something wrong. Everybody should be able to do high volume and take care of these 20 million men with erectile dysfunction in the United States. So let's get this number up. Let's make penises like breasts, okay? Dicks like tits. That works. And you guys will see it tomorrow.
Big business. Penises.
My clients
Penises and breasts.
without
Big
really having
business.
appropriate medical clearance, and without really seeking other less risky and less invasive ways to cure his erectile dysfunction, sought the cure and treatment of a penile implant. And at one point, after a number of painful procedures, he had to make a decision whether it was going to literally be his penis or his life. And he had to have his penis amputated so that the flesh-eating bacteria didn't spread to the rest of his body, and it would have ultimately cost him his life. The loss of a penis to a man is probably the single worst thing that any man could have to experience. It has profound physical, emotional, and psychological effects. I've been trying medical malpractice cases across the country for over 20 years, and even in the best hands, people can die. And that's something people need to understand. This is called plastic surgery or elective procedures. This is surgery. So the chance of an infection, the chance of scarring, deformity, or death is a realistic possibility.
Today is a difficult case study. These guys have penises that actually go all the way back and point towards them. Their penis, when you feel it, feels like there's marbles in it. And we're going to be demonstrating this technique that we do called the scratch, where we disrupt the plaque from the inside.
just, be normal. Get it out. That's it. And we'll go to the other side. Now, you've had mineral oil injected, is that correct?
Yes.
That was dumb.
Wow.
Sorry.
I know. Don't remind me, dog. But it's not gonna kill me, alright?
The problem with putting mineral oil in, it's not sterile. It's very nasty. And it could have killed you, so we got lucky. Good. Okay.
So then I'm gonna be super fine when I finish.
Yeah, well, you're gonna have a narrow waist and the other's gonna be fatter.
So you never call me super fine, dog?
Yeah, I'll be looking. Jennifer's gonna take you in, and I'll be right in. We're gonna get your blood pressure and some IV.
Okay.
You'll be fine. Really, I promise.
Okay.
Over the past decade, Americans across the country have become obsessed with ballooning their butts. Nowhere in the States is the trend more pervasive than in Miami, where procedures like the Brazilian butt lift are advertised on billboards, and you find yourself walking behind people and wondering, is that ass for real? Unfortunately, the insatiable desire to get a bigger booty has also created a butt injection black market. Injecting one's cheeks with substances like silicone and mineral oil requires little to no recovery time and is cheaper than traditional butt augmentation performed by board-certified plastic surgeons. The use of silicone injections to increase the size of one's assets is nothing new. The practice dates back to World War II, when the synthetic compound was first mass-produced as a transformer fluid. On the docks of Yokohama in Japan, American Army quartermasters discovered that local prostitutes were stealing the transformer fluid and injecting it directly into their boobs to get bigger and fuller breasts. This trend of injecting silicone spread throughout the U.S. After well-publicized horror stories and federal and state bans in the 70s, silicone injections went underground, where it was adopted by the trans community. Today, injections are a clandestine activity, taking place all over the country in homes, hotels, and even spas.
In Florida, the charge of practicing medicine without a license is a third-degree felony, and if it causes bodily harm, it raises it to a second-degree felony. My name is Brian Tutler. I'm a homicide detective with the Brevard County Sheriff's Office. Prior to working in the homicide unit, I worked in the violent crimes unit, and that was how I became involved in cases involving O'Neal Morris.
O'Neal Ron Morris, a transgender woman known as the Duchess, pled guilty last fall in Miami-Dade County for pumping unknown substances into rear ends, which caused at least 2 women to suffer serious health issues. The Duchess also faces charges in Broward County, including manslaughter, after one of her patients allegedly died as a result of the toxic tush injections.
O'Neal Morris at this time in Broward County is facing 3 counts on 3 separate victims for practicing medicine without a license. And then there's also a manslaughter charge. Somebody did pass away. These are the Broward County mugshots. I'm not sure about other jurisdictions, but you can see for yourself the progressive changes throughout the photographs.
Do you know, by any chance, if the issues with the skin is
I can't speculate. Part of the investigation was the longer these substances were inside the body, that's when effects start to show. So, again, the injuries that are suffered from these procedures are very, very debilitating. Something that you would not want to put upon yourself. These substances have been entered into the body now. If you were able to jump 3 years forward and see what your body would go through, I don't think that you would go through with it.
I'm not comfortable with my body. I'm not comfortable with my husband. See the color and shape. Yeah, it's hard.
We went to Coral Gables to meet Oscar Nabusi, a 35-year-old salon owner who received black market butt injections at a local spa in 2009. Shortly after, things went south.
I put silicone injections for my butt, make it full, but I have the reaction.
What was it like? Did they use a syringe to pump it?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Can you feel it go in, the fluid?
You feel the volume.
Really? So
you feel
it, your butt expand. How did they seal it?
I think put crazy.
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 Where was the point you saw this didn't go right?
6 months after, change the skin color, like full form, and the skin is like an onion.
It peeled.
Yes, and 8 months, I have the product down,
So it fell.
fell.
Gotcha.
Like looked like a pamphlet, full. Yeah.
Oh no. And
It's
so.
terrible.
So it fell into the cheeks, right? Like the cheeks were longer.
Yes.
Before you did the injections, were you self-conscious about your butt?
I'm Dominican, I'm not flat.
Right.
That's the problem. You're never happy with your body. But I want something like a shape, Brazilian shape, you know? But it's fancy shape.
How much did it cost?
3,000?
3,000. Did it look good right away when you got the injections? Were you very happy with it initially?
Yes. But one day I tried to see the mirror and not look good. And I have the friend, I say, can you check this and tell me the truth? When I see her face, he says, that's terrible. And the friend told me the only person I think remove this is Mendieta because he do for somebody she knows.
Dr. Constantino Mendieta is a Miami-based plastic surgeon specializing in the butt. Despite the complications of Oscarina's condition, he agreed to remove the product that had been injected inside her and reconstruct her booty.
I started to get a lot of people that were coming to me to help them with these disfigurements that they have in their buttock. It could be silicone, car oil, fix-a-flat. There's absolutely no way to tell after the fact. I am Dr. Constantino Mendieta, a board-certified plastic surgeon practicing in Miami, Florida, the heart of Buttropolis.
Was there a moment, like a moment where you
booty moment?
Yeah, like a booty moment, like, yo, I want to focus on the booties.
I was more of a leg guy, but then the legs come up and they got to end on something, right? And so I found the ending of the legs, and I said, my God, this is unbelievable. And I've dedicated almost 80% of my practice to reconstructing booties in America. So we start off with the buttock, and then what happens is I take my little magic tool and my eraser, and what I start to do is that I start to erase away.
So it's like Photoshop, but for...
Yes, but for the booty.
Yeah.
I start to add some fat where it needs to be added. What is the key ingredient to all this? There's 4 shapes around the world of butts. The A shape, which is the prettiest, square shape, there's the V shape, and then there's the round shape. The most important thing is the ratio of 0.7, right? It's a smaller waist, a little bit of a bigger hip, but there are cultures that have different styles or interests. If you take the Latin woman, she likes to have more of a hard shape, like a Jennifer Lopez. The Caucasian woman tends to like the Jessica Biel. The African Americans tend to like it big. They like a small waist and a big booty. And they like more of a shelf, where there is more fullness up on top. There's 3 different ways that you can enhance the buttock. But you gotta remember that it's not just about making it bigger, it's about making it shapelier and prettier.
Right.
Number 1 is to use your own body fat. McDonald's has helped us create this fat farm. Fat is amazing. The next way to do it is by using implants. But implants are only gonna make it bigger. And then the 3rd way, the underground black market injections of who knows what, people are so interested in getting their buttock done that they'll turn to any measure to do it.
When is the first time you heard about the underground business?
That's been around for a while. I mean, it's been around for many, many years, but it's really taken on an explosive path, I'd say over the last 5 to 10 years. Now we're starting to see all the complications. Why is that? Because when they inject something, a substance, which we don't know what they're injecting, it doesn't react right away. In the beginning, it'll look great. I mean, you'll look really nice, and that's what motivates people to get it done. It's a quick recovery. You've got an instant booty, but the problem is at 5 to 10 years, that's where the product starts to react. And when it starts to react, it destroys the butt. You will never get the butt that you had before back. I mean, this is really not easy on the eyes. This is beyond black market. This is way underground, and this is, who knows what they've injected in these people. But take a look how it's eating up and destroying the body. Many of these patients may die over time because of infections or whatever they're getting. When you see these, this is pretty gross.
Yeah, it's
I mean, this is absolutely horrific, and this is what we have to caution people against. And these are lifetime events. You'll never be able to change it.
Bring that back.
Ever.
After seeing how much damage a butt injection could do, we went to King of Diamonds, Miami's most notorious big booty strip club, to talk to some of the ladies who were willing to gamble their backsides and even their lives in hopes of getting a bigger payday.
I did some fat transfer. I did my butt. I spent almost $22,000 on my body.
Really? Wow.
Yes.
How much money did you spend on your butt, would you say?
My butt, maybe like 5,000.
How many girls, would you say like the percentage of girls that have had, fat transfer or butt injections or silicone butts in this club and like in the industry?
I'll say so far maybe 75% to 80%.
Okay.
Yes, because they see the other girls with it and they want to have that type of attraction and attention.
Right.
And they want to make more money.
It's like the Underground Railroad. It's like you tell somebody, they tell somebody, and they gonna call you. And I got my butt done on like a Tuesday. I came back on a Friday, and I probably made triple the amount that I spent on my butt back that same day. It was like my money went from like regular stripper to like superior stripper. Really, really cool.
What was the process like finding the person to do the injection?
Actually, the process was crazy because it was a celebrity.
Did he pay for it or he just hooked you up with the
Oh,
person?
no, listen. You
paid for it?
So I danced with him, and he, was like, yo, this. And I was like, cool.
Did the person act like professionally? Did they wear scrubs? Or?
Oh, yeah, because my person was a nurse. And I told him, okay, I'm going to like needles. They was like, okay, I'm going to numb you up. I'm going to put you to sleep.
Oh, they put you to sleep?
Yeah, they put me to sleep. So I woke up with a booty. I went to sleep flat, and I woke up with a butt. So I was like...
Can I touch your butt to kind of get a vibe? Yeah, I mean, it looks good. The butts of King of Diamonds looked and felt incredible, but I couldn't really enjoy myself because all I could think about was how mangled their asses might look in 5 to 10 years.
But how about if your stuff go right? Then what is Duchess? She a god now?
Corey Eubanks, Duchess's former friend and customer, was accused of assisting Duchess in her black market business. Corey denies he was Duchess's assistant, but he did plead guilty to misdemeanor charges and was put on probation.
I got nervous for real now.
That was for real.
Please knock me out. Hurry up. One's for nausea, one's for pain. I'm probably gonna need a lot for pain.
Alright. So what I'm gonna have you do is come in the back. We're gonna change into some sexy underwear. And then I'll give you some more information. Okay?
Nearly a decade after he got his butt shots from Duchess, Corey is still attempting to get the perfect body. We met him when he was about to go under the knife again, this time for liposuction.
Everyone that does it gets addiction. It's an addiction where you say, now I can fix this, now I can fix that, now I can change this a little.
Think about how good you're gonna look.
Yeah, I'm ready for that part.
Think about that.
Okay.
Alright.
I actually got it right here, and I can pull my pants down. I got it right at the top. So it made my hump a little bigger. Duchess just shot what I know to be now as mineral oil. $1.68 in the grocery store. Mineral oil, regular mineral oil.
Do you still have that in your butt now?
Yeah. Touch the top.
Oh yeah, it's pretty hard.
I don't think those people are honest with telling you what they use just because it's probably a cheap substance like $1.68 mineral oil.
How many people do you think you referred to Duchess over the years?
Probably about 25.
And you never received any kind of kickback from Duchess, like, hey, thanks for hooking me?
No, I wasn't looking for that. I think it's still easier for some people to go to the underground doctors because they pay less than coming up with thousands of dollars. But I'm sure fat transfer made the illegal business go down because people now see that they can save their money to get that rather than spend it on something that's really not safe for you.
People want to look better, faster, and for less money than it would take if they did it legitimately. So that's just how our culture is nowadays. You want things done fast, you want them done now, and you don't really think about the consequences.
How did you feel when the doctor said that, you know, potentially mineral oil could have killed you?
When I first did it, I was terrified.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, well, watch out, be one of the ones that get messed up.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it was just a risk. I tell you, and it was so many people that I know that had good outcomes. The people that had bad outcomes, I didn't know them. I heard about them. And I knew it from the beginning. I wasn't fooled. I just felt like, just like the rest of them, I'm sure. That there's nothing gonna happen. Everything's gonna go smooth. I'm gonna be fine, and that's gonna be it. I knew I was a crazy fool.
I'm going to show you the effects of the hemotoxin venom on blood, okay? You can already see pretty quickly it's kind of congealing, it's quite gloopy. And I'm beginning to wonder if that's such a good thing to be happening in my body. Sometimes I think, God, you know, that can't be good. I don't have a medical background. I have no fucking idea what it's doing to my body. If I did die due to snake venom or whatever, I'm sure it'll be quite funny to a lot of people, and they'll go, you see? And even to myself, as I was floating out of my body and looking down below, I'm sure I'd be laughing my ass off. Like, you idiot! You're not supposed to inject snake venom, you fool. My name is Steve Ludwin, and I've been self-immunizing with various snake venoms for well over 20 years now. You know, I'm kind of embarrassed. I mean, I don't have that medical background. I don't even have a proper American high school education. There's been quite a few, doctors and scientists that have been horrified by my lack of, having things that are sterile and stuff like that. Have our lower Baja rattlesnake. And bang. You see that? That's one unhappy rattlesnake. Relax. I've always been in good health. I haven't had something like the flu and coming up on 9 winters, and as I've gotten older, people have started to comment, oh wow, you don't seem like you're 46 years old. I had some doctors did tests on my skin and they were all kind of a little bit baffled. This girl doesn't really like it very much. This is why I'm always nervous holding a viper, because they can spin their fangs around and actually go through their lip to get your fingers. This snake is not wanting to be milked. Sometimes that happens. I had quite an unusual sort of upbringing. I'm the son of a Pan Am pilot. I had a real catch-me-if-you-can Leonardo DiCaprio sort of lifestyle. I had a credit card that just said Pan Am on it with my name, Steve Ludwin, and I could get on any plane as long as I was wearing a tie for free. My father took me down to the Miami Serpentarium when I was about 9 years old, and I got to meet this now famous herpetologist called Bill Haas. He was the first Westerner to start injecting himself with snake venom. He started in 1948. I was very young and impressionable. I loved snakes. From that moment on, after meeting him, I was like, wow, you can become immune to snake venom? This is crazy. That's called vaccinology. It's the oldest form of medicine, apparently. When I was about 17, it's like, I've got to get that venom into me somehow. This is called a Pope's tree viper, and I'm a little bit wary of them, but it's a beautiful snake. I don't know if you can see those fangs. Do you see that fang? It's a hemotoxin. It's going to cause a massive tissue destruction. You know, people have died from these snakes, so you do not want that on your finger. I moved to London in 1987, and I started working in East End. It was called the Vivarium, and basically my job for £1.60 an hour was to unpack cobras and scorpions and tarantulas and reptiles, you know, for zoos and laboratories. I started bringing the venomous snakes home. My first time doing it was crazy. I had never even milked a snake before, and I just kind of had to figure it out on my own. So what I would do is I would take a scalpel and scratch, like, you know, 2 little scratch marks into my arm. I would take a little bit of the venom and I would drop it into the cut, and you could feel it the first time. It was like, ah, that burns. I quickly washed it off, you know, because I was scared. I was like, what is this going to do? It kind of swelled up, and you know, my heart started pounding, not because of the venom, because it was like, oh my God, is this going to stop? Is it going to kill me? I had no idea. Since people have kind of heard what I've been doing and stuff like that, I've seen a lot of people bitching. They're worse than like Star Trek fans, to be honest with you, reptile people. Sometimes, you know, I always thought, like, you know, when the internet came, I was like, wow, you can communicate with other people that have the same passion about these animals, but it's not the case. There's a lot of bitchiness, and, you know, who has the biggest snake? I don't keep big snakes. Guys that keep big snakes are hiding a secret. This is the last hemotoxic snake that goes into my snake bite cocktail. This is called an eyelash viper. This is one of the scariest snakes that I own. This is the snake that bit me. The worst pain that I've ever had in my life, and I've had, you know, lots of accidents with venom, but it felt like you would put your hand down on a marble table and someone took a sledgehammer and smashed it onto your pinky. But the funny thing is that pain never subsided for 8 fucking hours. And I had some scientists in the States saying, get yourself to the hospital. This is not a good snake to be bitten by. But I kind of waited it out. I had confidence that I was going to be okay. But it's a really aggressive snake, and it's really tricky to milk. Yeah. Whoa, there's lots of venom coming up there. Thank you. So, those are our hemotoxins. I posted a really beautiful snake that I have on YouTube. It's called a Macrops pit viper. Just because I'm handling the snake, it's called free handling. There's death threats, and, you know, people have just gone crazy.
Nice.
Poke it in my eye a million times and it wouldn't bite. These snakes can and will kill you. Everybody take a good long look. The moron attached to that arm is the reason why you have trouble keeping your reptiles legally. I'm not a moron attached to this arm. Oh, yes, I am. To think we lock up pedophiles and murderers when sickos like this are free to roam our streets. What's wrong with the world these days? Now, I think that's somebody being sarcastic. Okay, here's a good one. You, to put it kindly, are an ignorant fucktard. I sincerely hope you get bit. Hard. And I strongly dissuade anyone watching this video from repeating the actions of this small-penised individual. Stupid dickhammer. Now that's good. That's good. This next snake is the Naja Kuthia, which is responsible for a lot of deaths every year. In the time that I've been working with the snakes, I've had some injections where I was a little bit cocky with it and got the dilution sort of wrong. They were like volcanoes. I had 3 of them. I had 2 on this leg and 1 down here. And they were growing and growing and burning, and for days I was like, oh God, I could feel this pressure. I touched it and goo shot out 5 foot across onto the carpet. And I was just like, oh my God, oh fuck, you know, I'm fucked here. I got this massive needle for injecting horses or something. I put on some AC/DC and it just gave me the strength just to, against all your will, just push this down, and you could feel it going down into something. Do I have the nucleus yet? I'm pulling on this. No, I don't think I've got the nucleus. I think I've gone through it. Pull it back out, hit the nucleus, and it was just like, just pulling back on the most disgusting stuff that you'd ever want to see. And I was like, oh, I'm just gonna squeeze it. And I squeezed this, and it actually made a sound. It was like, I looked down in there, and there was a fucking hole in my leg. I could see inside my leg where all the tissue had sort of rotted away. I noticed flies coming to it immediately, and it stunk. It was like death. It was rotting. I never want that happening again. You hear it? This is not the hemotoxic snake. This is something that's got the neurotoxin, the nausea cuthia, which is the monocled cobra. Simple. And let go. Since I kind of discovered the possibilities within the neurotoxin in this cobra venom, I've been using it in sporting activities recently and kind of testing it as kind of added a little bit of extra speed into my normal abilities. I've been doing tests on my skateboard. I from my house into the West End, I see how fast I can get in there. I just use the roads, and I think the cobra venom helps with that. It's just sort of like, I go in between cars, I go in between buses, I go in the middle of the road, I just cane it. I feel like I've got so much energy and speed. When I'm skating, I've learned to actually start moving like a snake, and I found myself just kind of using that S shape, carving and carving, and it actually starts giving me a little bit of power.
William Hart, director of the Serpentarium, has had much experience in handling cobras, but he still treats them with the greatest respect. Get around, folks, but not too close.
Bill Hoster really is my Beatles and Rolling Stones and Beach Boys all wrapped in one. He died last year. He was just like 2 weeks shy of 101. He'd say that he hasn't been sick a day in his life. And it made me start thinking, okay, wow, there's something here. He was really my parameter of sort of going, is this dangerous? It's working for this guy. He was treating people with polio, people with MS. He had like 4,000 patients. He had people that couldn't even walk, and with the right doses and the right ingredients of his medicines that contain various snake venoms, people, I've seen footage of it, they're playing basketball. But the FDA heard about what he was doing and they shut him down, even though he was having such success with it. But the other thing that Bill Haas did, which is totally amazing, it's miraculous, it almost sounds like a messiah, because he was immune to these snake venoms. He's given his blood to snake bite victims that are dying, and then they survive. I've milked all the snakes. We've got hemotoxins in one glass. This is the one that we've kind of had the cocktails. So I'm drawing that venom up into the syringe. Now, so here is what I was saying earlier. There's no such thing as a poisonous snake. It is not poison. You see that venom coming out there? See it on my finger? You can do this completely safely. If you don't freeze it, I mean, it's just like food. It's a protein.
Wow.
Down. So I have, months and months worth of
Come on, do it. Do it.
This is the hemotoxin. I'm going to put 6. What I have here is water for injections. I will start on the actual raw venom, and then what we'll do is we'll use that injection. The first time I tried using the snake venom was pretty scary. There was no internet back then, but it felt really natural. It felt like it was instinct. This is not diluted. This is the pure venom. So now we're going to do an injection with the diluted hemotoxin. The benefits to the hemotoxins, I'm not too sure. I feel like I need another 20 years to do it. I had some doctors test my DNA telomeres, and when I was 42, I scored as a 28-year-old. Perhaps there are some anti-aging properties to snake venom. I mean, it could all end tomorrow as well. I'm not saying I'm invincible. This is the shot glass that has the cobra venom, the neurotoxin. Get it all up. I'm going with 2 drops of this. This actual cobra that we're using is more venomous than a king cobra. 1 drop of cobra venom can kill 20 to 30 grown men.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I mean, it just feels like a bee sting to start off with. That cobra venom does have a bit of pain to it. It's
This
like
guy is
man
fucked
versus
up.
Food, spicy chicken challenge. I'm 46 now. I'll have to see how many years I can go on continuing doing this, but you do think that it is quite taxing on the body. It is possible in 2 years' time my kidneys fail and I die due to the venom of all those years, of all those toxins, all the swelling, all the decomposing flesh and the bruising. It all has to filter through your kidneys and your liver, and it's really bad stuff to be going through there. Whoa, okay, that was a little bit more than 5 mil. People want to know what it feels like. It feels like, injecting Tabasco sauce and, rubbing it in a cut. It just burns. And I will take another syringe here and just basically bring that raw venom down with the needle, which I quite like to work actually. Diluting is something that's been quite new to me over the last 4 years that I've learned how to do and work properly. I was a bit nervous when I was milking the snakes, but when I do these injections, I don't think anything of it. Once I know that the dilutions are right, it's as normal as anything for me now. I always kind of note the time just in case if I ever did have any problems where I did need to visit the hospital.
Fucked up. No, not today,
One
boy.
time I did
Not
have a
today.
serious overdose. I injected 3 raw venoms a couple years ago, and I only wanted to put down a little bit in, and as I was pressing it, just went, the whole thing went in. Within 45 minutes, my hand was like a...
Oh, you lucky motherfucker.
Swimming in my body. I had some friends come over because they knew I was fucked. They were saying, go to the hospital, and I just didn't want to. And the next morning, I started waking up and I wasn't going down, so I got sick.
Alright, I need to take a break
They saw my arm and they said, what happened?
and go eat
3
something.
doctors came out and they said, well, what snake bit you? And I had to just say, well, I didn't get bit. There's 3 snakes. I purposely injected it into my arm. They didn't know what to say, and next thing I know, I was being taken into another room, and one of the female doctors just came in and was just yelling at me, and he's saying, you idiot, you can't do this. And they were telling me, you're gonna die, and you're gonna lose your arm. I was in intensive care for 3 days, but I was kind of calm throughout the whole thing, but I don't want to ever repeat it. Since I'd heard that the Americans and the Chinese got busted injecting racehorses with cobra venom and it was making them outperform their abilities, I immediately got excited. And I thought boxing would be a great thing to see, is it possible that I could outperform my ability? I was working harder last year when I was on my own. I actually felt like something was happening. I was like, holy shit, this stuff is working. It's amazing if you're discreet what you can get away with in London. Bear Grylls. I hate that guy. In those films, he's like, oh, here's the snake. And you can just bite its head off, and he does. He's killed snakes on TV. That's my fucking family you're fucking around with! Sorry, just kidding. One thing I have noticed is that, I'm not really feeling the pain, so that could be the other thing that helped those horses along. Why not find out why it's doing these things? If it's taking away pain, if it's giving you confidence or whatever, why not
Give it to your army.
Christopher Columbus didn't go looking for America to discover America. He was looking for the fountain of youth. What does mankind want? They want to live longer. Everyone wants to live longer. Apparently, there's something in snake venom that helps its food to accept death. I did feel that once. As I was lying there and I could feel the numbness in my head and stuff. I had this complete feeling of, oh well, I might die here, but I felt really happy to die. My heart's pounding. You're alive for a good 6 to 12 hours. Like Starbucks has nothing on this.
Yeah, that I must admit that it doesn't feel great. It's kind of like Jello in there. And God knows what it's doing in there. I wish I understood what's happening beneath that skin. The next day is always the same with the cobra venom. It just feels like you're beaten up anyway. And then I have a good sort of 4 days where I feel kind of quite charged. Come on, let's box. Come on.
How many years have you been doing this?
Over 20 years for the 20
So you've been
years.
quite lucky then, really. Like, is there a risk that you take that venom and it could just kill you?
It is kind of a little bit playing with fire. I've had maybe 3 incidents in my life where it was borderline life-threatening.
Yeah, I mean, what you're saying is similar to someone taking heroin or cocaine or injecting and taking a gamble. So you're gambling with your life every time you take it.
I've gotten so used to it, I do it without thinking about it. And because I know the amounts and I know not to push it and where not to push it and stuff, it seems really safe to me. This certainly isn't physically addictive or it isn't pleasurable.
So you believe you can stop tomorrow and stop taking it? Stop doing it?
Yeah, I'd like to do that very soon. I've done it for so long. I'd like to actually spend it. I'd like to take a year off.
Have you done that, managed that?
No, I've never done it. I've never not done it. But I'd like to take like a year off.
So you're not going to know if it's addictive until you try it.
Is it possible you could be addicted to pain then, if you got what I mean?
I think if I was, I would have other things in my life. I'd be a boxer.
Yeah, true.
The day after going boxing, my arm just was even more swollen than the day before, but I felt like a truck had hit me. I felt like I was being digested from the inside, you know. I was walking around like the Elephant Man for a day. I can kind of remember it, but I was like in a dream state. I felt like I had been injected with, 1,000 energy drinks. It just felt slightly wrong. I would really like to work with a forward-thinking company that is going to go, okay, kid, we like your ideas, let's start researching this and, round the clock and get it done. I visited the University of Southern California a couple of years ago and I met Professor Frank Markland, I believe his name is. He's been working with copperhead venom. Copperhead venom is the North American pit viper that's being used. They've been studying the effects on breast cancer cells, ovarian cancer. It actually inhibits the growth of tumors and basically kind of kills off cancer cells. So there's a real excitement around that. Yeah, the possibilities of a cancer cure someday with snake venom, I'd put my money on it. Banana.
drugs, there's a long pre-established history of what the activity is going to be like. That is not the case with efavirenz. Really the only way to crack that kind of a mystery is to take the drug. That is what psychopharmacology is. I don't necessarily think it's going to be mind-blowing, but time will tell. South Africa has one of the planet's most unique drug cultures. It is a realm where the quaalude still abounds, and heroin has emerged only recently, not in its familiar guise as an intravenously administered powder, but as a component in a mysterious smoking mixture called niobe.
A drug that's torn communities apart, made from a volatile cocktail of red poison, heroin, and ARVs.
The drug efavirenz was first approved by the FDA in 1998 and has since become a vital component of the antiretroviral drug cocktails that are used to treat HIV internationally.
Apparently some people don't go to clinics now to go and get their ARVs because they are scared they get robbed, and those are then added to this concoction as well.
Although prescription drug abuse is not uncommon, this was the first I'd heard of an antiretroviral drug being used recreationally, and the suggestion that it behaved like a classical psychedelic further kindled the fires of my obsession. And so I traveled to South Africa to find out what role, if any, efavirenz plays in the niobe cocktail and what effect it might have on the recreational user. Venturing into the township Soweto, I met with a local group willing to share their expertise on drug acquisition and consumption.
They mix niobe with daka. You understand what I'm saying? With marijuana.
Yes.
Yeah, so they put it inside there. They mix it with it.
Yes.
Then they smoke it.
Yes.
Yeah.
As I entered the den, I could smell the remnants of heroin and methamphetamine and methcathinone and methaqualone and cannabis. We're currently in the home of niobe users, and we're going to get a walk through the process of how niobe is formulated. We're going to see all the different components that go into the mixture and maybe even watch some people ingesting it. This is the home of the parents of the users who've since passed away, and now this has become something of a drug den, or so I've been told.
Hamilton,
yeah.
You must educate other Americans. It's not marijuana, it's marijuana.
Nah, Chala, when you smoke your this time, the feeling you get is nice. You see, but others they vomit when they smoke the first time.
A lot of people have been saying that niobe contains some kind of HIV medicine.
Like you take red poison, then you take ARV.
Rat poison?
Yeah.
Why would you put rat poison in it?
Yeah, I reckon it is dangerous, but I think it also has a high or something.
You personally put the rat poison in?
No.
As soon as you take a first shot, you feel great because the morphine and the strychnine, they are cancelling out. And so you're getting the effect from the morphine. But when the morphine wears off, those products, the strychnine is still in your body causing the pain. And it's every 4 hours that they have to have a shot because the body hurts.
Since the 1960s, reports of street drugs laced with the rat poison strychnine have been perpetuated by the popular media. Most of these claims are false. But when I read that an analytical chemist in Durban had detected strychnine in a niobe sample, I decided to pay him a visit. Do you have anything from the analysis or from previous analysis that you could show us?
No, we did that. We had to get permission to do that. We did that stuff, and the data was given to these people.
I guess just given how dangerous strychnine is, it seems like there'd be a huge potential for killing people, especially...
That's what I don't get. That's the other thing. I even ask myself, why are these people not dying yet? Because strychnine is the ancient poison. That thing's been used to kill kings and royalty and important statesmen for a long, long time.
But you did this analysis.
And I found strychnine.
Yeah.
But if you want a fresh analysis, it's possible for me to do it. Now that you've brought up this question and this point about that you don't think that it's there, that the strychnine is there, and I found the strychnine here from these ones, I'm also curious. And for us to run the analysis for you would not take more than a few hours. If I take you now to buy some, are we off camera?
Under the cover of night, we went to obtain a fresh niobe sample from a recent drug bust.
Over here in Durban they call it sugars because it looks like brown sugar. So they sell it in straws. They take a straw and they put a little amount in it and then you twist it. So if you buy it now, you're buying it in that straw and it's really a dirty color.
Should I jump in? Yeah,
Fresh niobe in hand, we returned to the laboratory to look for the presence of strychnine or efavirenz.
If you think about it, the sample set that they brought us was just from one dealer. And it just so happens that we know who the single dealer is. And it's a big dealership. So I really find it hard to believe that you could get that large amount of ARVs to be adding to this to get the significant effect out of an ARV. So this contour plot here shows you the UV activity, okay, of the molecules. If it's an ARV, it's going to have decent UV activity, and the only 4 compounds that have this UV activity are these things. So clearly this is just dirty heroin.
No strychnine. Heroin is a very well-covered, well-established drug of abuse, and it's not something I'm particularly interested in rehashing. But here's the thing, heroin exists all over the world. Yeah. What I'm interested in specifically is the ARV thing. Even if it's fake or whatever, I just want to understand it. I want to know, is this something...
It's not even a hallucinogen. They don't see things, they just become super high.
They just become high.
Super high.
That's what it sounds like to me as well. Like they get really high, really crazy, but it doesn't quite sound like they're tripping to me. And, there's all these stories in the Sun that are talking about how people will rape women so that they can get HIV, so they can get the ARVs to smoke. All this stuff. It seems really sensational to me.
Let's not forget, that is a tabloid newspaper.
Yeah.
Do you understand? But I won't necessarily say it's lies, because there's truth to everything, This is South Africa, my man. There's a lot that goes on,
But you must get the concrete information. There mustn't be lies in it.
Coupling of sickness with social welfare and money in a very resource poor setting is often fertile grounds for these kinds of rumors.
In order to gain further insight into the psychoactivity of efavirenz, I met with South African anthropologist Isaac Nijhuis. Do you have any idea how much of these things are potentially some kind of journalistic or tabloid fabrication or construction?
Yeah, there's always an aura of factuality in these stories. And I think the reason for that is that when people who are HIV positive use afferents, one of the side effects is extremely bizarre dreams of standing on mountains, of being attacked by animals, of deceased people walking around in their house. Many Africans believe that the ancestors would send you dreams, that God would communicate through dreams. And then they see here is a drug that can similarly induce dreams and can create images. And so there is a kind of a mystical power to this drug.
I had already spoken with active users, but I wanted to meet with Niobe addicts in recovery to hear their perspective on what the Niobe mixture might contain.
It's a concoction of heroin and other substances, your red poison.
Chemicals to use to clean the toilets, chemicals they use to clean the dishes in the kitchen.
Your family planning tablet.
They are adding family planning tablets to it?
Yeah, and they call it Niobe.
I don't have AIDS, you see, or HIV and red poison, and I'm not a rat, you see. Those things are not good for me.
Actually, I think a lot of people, they think they're buying heroin, pure heroin, but it never comes pure because, from where it comes from, as it makes its way through Africa, they keep adding all this because the volume decreases, so they want to make more profit and they add this stuff. So you might find maybe it's 50% heroin and the rest is, all this added stuff.
Slowly, it became clear that Niobe was a complex mixture containing near infinite combinations of heroin, cannabis, brodifacoum, efavirenz, amtricytidine, strychnine, tenofovir, and oral contraceptives. I called Ted Leggett, a UN researcher who studied drug abuse in South Africa since the mid-90s.
I got to South Africa in 1995, which was just after the end of apartheid, and there wasn't a lot of heroin around then. There's two places it started out, for whatever reason, was in white communities in Pretoria and Cape Town, and it was being dealt primarily by East Africans at that time, the primary areas of Pakistan, Iran, and where the drugs were coming from. On the question of why heroin wasn't there, well, you have to keep in mind that it wasn't because of the borders were impermeable. People moved money and guns and drugs, so it wasn't because you couldn't get it across the border. It was because drugs require culture. They require supporting culture. One of the things that really struck me is when heroin started getting into some parts of the black community, they had no context for it at all. They hadn't seen train spotting. They didn't think about these things as, they didn't have this history with it.
Back in Soweto, we met with a local man who had been robbed of his money and plates by a gang of Niobe addicts.
They just steal anything. Money, plates, anything that they can lay their hands on. As you can see, this tap was stolen, so that's why there is this water. I've replaced it 3 times. Only the people who do this and get money for Niobe. It's for no other purpose.
Can you talk about crime, but I've been living in South Africa for, my entire life. And the first time that I've been a victim of crime was a few months ago, where someone broke into my house and stole my video games. That was it. And that's only because of this drug problem that we're having.
They just take people things, they do house breakings, maybe washing, maybe when people wash their clothes and put it there, you steal the clothes. You see, that's why these people are mad now. Even if they find you stealing and they know that you are smoking Niobe, they hit you to kill you, they kill you. Mob justice.
They say criminals sometimes smoke these drugs so that they do not have any fear. they can be fairly ruthless in their crime.
We just arrived at the clinic where there was recently a myopia-related robbery. And we're about to meet with the doctor who's in charge of dispensing the antiretroviral drugs that have been stolen in order to be used as a component in the mysterious Niobe mixture.
And last August, two guys came in and then they knocked as if they were patients. And then they were armed. And then the first thing that they said is, where is the medicine cabinet? They wanted the ARVs.
This is called a favorite, 600 milligram.
I tried it myself. I was just experimenting.
Experimenting?
Yeah, and I felt what people were feeling. You feel lightheaded, and then there's that feeling of inhibition. You can do anything you want. I mean, I can just urinate here in front of you. You know, you've got all the powers. You can bulldoze everyone. That's why these boys, they come and do burglary and whatever, because they feel that, you know what, they are on top of the world, they can do anything. Mixing it with other stuff, the potency goes higher. You can have one.
Thank you, yes, I would. I would like
You can have one.
Would it be possible for me to get quite a few of them?
Yeah.
Pay for them, of course.
Yeah, sure. No, I don't have to. Don't have to.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Yeah, you can have them. Yeah. Not a problem. Yeah. Don't take all of them.
Of course not. That's actually the first authoritative description I've heard of the effects of efavirenz. It's so interesting. It sounded like it had a disinhibiting effect, but it didn't sound like a classically psychedelic effect. So I was hesitant to try it because the idea of taking an antiretroviral drug recreationally in a country where HIV is a massive problem just seems like the sort of thing that would make people go crazy. But because the doctor actually gave me 30 tablets and specifically instructed me to take one, I feel like I have no choice but to try it once and characterize the effects. Are you ready? And the time right now is 12:43. I'm gonna start a timer. I have certain expectations based on the published binding data that it will behave like a classical psychedelic. It's certainly been connected with disturbing dreams or intense dreams or nightmares in certain instances, but really the only way to crack that kind of a mystery is to take the drug.
Take one tablet at bedtime only. Yeah, just take one and then you'll understand what I'm talking about.
Coming in stronger now?
Not really. I could talk to a cop. I could call my parents on the phone. There is definite activity, but then the actual character of the activity is unclear, and the duration of the activity is unclear. All I know is that there is a drug effect going on.
So my interest in this came from a news report that I had seen on a Saturday afternoon where there was a report on people in South Africa using efavirenz recreationally.
At the University of Texas, I met with John Setch, a pharmacologist who published a groundbreaking paper that demonstrated the unexpected activity of efavirenz as a classical psychedelic. Dr. Sech found that efavirenz can substitute for LSD in specially trained rats.
Basically, they train a rat in a lever press task, and they can discriminate or tell the difference by pressing a lever. So you train them up on, let's say, LSD versus saline. So one lever, they would press it if they are experiencing saline, or they would press the other lever if they're experiencing LSD. What you do in those trained animals is then you substitute in, let's say, your experimental drug. In this case, it would be efavirenz. And so in rats trained to discriminate LSD from saline, when we substituted in efavirenz, a drug that they had never experienced, they pushed the lever saying that it was like LSD. We were prevented from testing even higher doses, but at higher doses of efavirenz, the animals don't press levers, and so you're sort of limited by how high a dose.
I mean, there's maybe a little trailing activity, maybe a tiny bit of trailing, a tiny bit. Because the effect is already so subtle, I'm going to go forward and take the full 900 milligrams. Although there's no way to evaluate whether or not a rodent is hallucinating, scientists have discovered that classical psychedelics induce a unique effect in mice and rats. That effect is called the head twitch response.
They mark with an asterisk to alert you that the head twitch response will occur. It's very rapid. There it was. If you're not looking, you'll miss it. You see that application of the same concentration of efavirenz doesn't produce head twitch in the knockout mouse, suggesting that the head twitch response is being mediated through the 5-HT2A receptor.
5-HT2A is a subtype of serotonin receptor that plays an important role in the activity of classical psychedelics. When activity at 5-HT2A is blocked, genetically or pharmacologically, rodents no longer display the head twitch response. We're in Louisville, near Whitbank, on our way to meet some Niobe dealers who are going to be cutting their product with antiretroviral drugs, supposedly. Whether or not this will actually take place is unclear, especially because they're using the word cook somewhat ambiguously, and I don't know what cooking really means in this context. As we approached the lair of the clandestine Niobe cooks, I prepared myself to finally understand the logic behind their strange recipe. How did you come upon this particular formula? How did you decide that all of these different ingredients would be useful in the final product?
You see, every nation did two parts to formulate this thing. You see, when we are together, people with different ideas, we combine them, we come up with one big thing.
Though I had remained skeptical throughout my research, when I saw the ARV tablets on the table of the cutters, I was forced to confront the possibility that the stories were true.
There's a guy that came from Nigeria by the name of Olu. He's the one who came with the formula.
Who do you think taught him?
He said he thought by his uncle, the uncle of his was working for another Chinese guy who was staying in Cuba.
These guys learn the recipes, and then when they have the recipe, that's their stock and trade. Because it's a secret, there's no Darwinian action to the idea. So they don't really understand how it's happening. Just when somebody's telling them how to do this.
When we grind the retex, we don't just take the too much of it, just the dizziness. Your body's young, but your mind will be on the other side of town, you see.
It's hard to tell what's actually having a pharmacological effect and how much of it's just tradition or...
fuck you, blood.
These pills, they give it a power to make you drunk.
They store it at the clinics, at the hospital, and the suppliers.
Probably the antiretrovirals are a minor part of the oral history.
Oh, yeah, baby.
It's actually very
Yeah,
expensive.
baby.
It's a round. We've got access to it, so they toss that in this as well.
And I see that you have 3 different antiretroviral drugs there. Do you think that one of them is better than the others?
It's just when you take this one and this one, you make a mixture, it becomes the power of this one.
After introducing a teaspoon of Ratax pellets and saturating the crushed powder with apple cider vinegar, the Niobe cooks wrapped the pink paste in aluminum foil and placed it in a microwave.
I think this is largely drug use born out of poverty and boredom. People are obviously experimenting with a lot of things until they get it right.
You see, to avoid certain things, we took the foil out.
And so if you had a choice between pure heroin or the Niobe mixture that you make, which would you choose?
No, I would choose this one because it's a little bit better.
So if you use the pure opium tar from the poppy plant, you'd expect very bad stomach pains.
Yes.
But if you put rat poison into that tar, it actually makes the stomach pains less severe.
Yes. Not too much of it. Because we are cooking, this thing, it affects us more than the one who smoke. You see, my original body is not like this. My original colors look like this. When you see my photos before, now, sometimes I cry.
So we make the assumptions that the studies that we do in animals will translate one-to-one into humans, and that may not be true, it may only be partly true. We never had tried to simulate having the rats smoke the drug.
Because recreational users smoke efavirenz, the temperature could transform the chemical into an entirely different molecule. To test this hypothesis, I met with the medicinal chemist Jason Wallach to burn efavirenz under controlled conditions. For this experiment, I used the entirety of the pill to try and simulate the exact conditions that the tablet is smoked in South Africa. Yeah, what's really cool is at this lab that I'm working at, we're building a machine that's like a machine that will smoke a tablet, and then we can collect all of the smoke and chemically analyze it to see how the drug is changed when it's burned. Kind of like a series of bombs that you use for smoking weed, all connected to one another with a vacuum on one side and a pipe on the other. And then you're able to just take out the water and analyze what's in it. Our hypothesis was correct. When heated under certain conditions, efavirenz is transformed into an entirely different molecule, the pharmacology of which is unknown. Even the activity of the drug when it's consumed orally is something I'm just beginning to understand. I am fully efavirenz now. Oh man, is it psychedelic in a certain way? I feel sedated, I feel relaxed. But I feel a connection to every other time that I've attempted to articulate a psychedelic experience in front of the camera right now. It feels like it's part of a continuum, a strange, eternal camera articulation continuum. You know, if you feel the effect of weed, you can say, I'm stoned, and people will know I am under the influence of cannabis. If you say I'm drunk from alcohol, people will understand what that feels like. But if you say I'm efavirenz,
I mean, you have to imagine there are literally thousands of targets for drugs in your body. I would venture to say that most drugs are interacting on more than one target. We would certainly hope to develop drugs that wouldn't have some of the side effect profiles that you currently see, and that might also, we believe, we could probably simultaneously engineer out any abuse potential for the compounds.
I would argue that in South Africa, adherence to antiretroviral drugs has actually been quite high, and I think the bizarre images and very vivid dreams, they seem to create the impression that the antiretroviral drugs are very potent and very powerful, and that they're potent and powerful enough to fight a very powerful disease.
Like the tingly stuff in the anti-dandruff shampoo or whatever, something that people, whether it has any actual effect on the condition or not, that actually lets people know, okay, you're experiencing a medical or pharmacological effect now.
When you consider that possibility, it seems like it could actually be detrimental to redesign the drug in such a way that it doesn't have any psychoactive properties anymore.
Sure. Yeah, I haven't seen any controlled studies done on that, so I'd have to evaluate that data in terms of compliance.
Alright, okay, the mice discriminated that stimulus correctly. A whole new world just opened up. A whole new pharmacophore, a whole new scaffold. This could be a completely new base structure to make new psychedelics. It could be an entirely new class.
Everything improves, you know. The computer started being a big computer. Now we carry it, it's a laptop. The next time it won't be a laptop, it's just a wash. You know, everything changes.
Afrovirus is psychedelic. At the beginning of the piece, I said that you had to take the drug in order to understand it, and that's what psychopharmacology is all about, which is a little bit of an oversimplification, but it's true that there are certain questions in psychopharmacology that can't be effectively answered by a rodent. I hadn't seen anyone write, I've taken it, it is psychedelic, it's comparable to LSD. Nothing like that existed, and for that reason I wanted to take it, and for that reason it was useful to take it, because I answered my question. It is classically psychedelic. That said, it's not pleasant at all. Although the acute effects were somewhat enjoyable and comparable to mescaline, I was bedridden and totally incapacitated for almost 2 days afterwards. So this is something I've actually been very conflicted about reporting on. On one hand, I understand and feel a responsibility for conveying accurate information about this substance, but the possibility that anyone would divert this drug away from its intended medical purpose is actually very frightening. It is psychedelic, but so are lots of other things that are more potent, less expensive, and less toxic and dangerous to use at high doses.
Sorry I couldn't help you any more than that, right? No worries. I hope that we do see you at the clinic at some point. I hope so too. That's, yeah. So, yeah. Yeah. It's just like, fuck, there's no help out here. It's fucking bullshit. Unless you got like money, it's like what fucking drug addict asks you drugs every day has money. It's frustrating. I'm sure his fucking kid was on opiates every day fucking that. Go get high, obviously. What else is there to do? Like I'm just back to where I started. I don't have any extra hope anymore. It's just is what it is from before we met.
Nobody can fix anybody else until they gotta fix themselves, right? And, you know, I've had those experiences where I've tried my best to try and help somebody out. Like with my little brother. You know, he's a fentanyl addict too, and I brought him out here, and I bust his ticket up here, and got him in treatment and everything, and I tried to do more work for his recovery than he was putting in. And where he relapsed, it devastated me. But it gave me the knowledge that I can't help everybody, no matter how hard I actually try for it, right? And I just saw him on the weekend, actually. He's not doing well. He's full blown again, so he's getting kicked out. He's going back to the streets, which is probably the best thing for him. Because I know for myself to get clean, I had to fall on hard times. Everyone's bottom is different, right? I mean, the pit is bottomless. We can keep going out, we can keep getting it worse for ourselves, you know? It's just you gotta hit that point where it's just not worth it anymore. Straight up, if I could get high every day and live the life that, you know, I am today, I would be doing it. But I can't. Because I give everything to the disease, right? I give everything to fentanyl.
So you ain't fucking bad.
And I wind up on the street with no friends, no family, no one to talk to. And, you know, you can only sleep in a tent for so long before the choice comes in to finish it off or keep sleeping in a tent, right?
Fuck yeah, this is dope. I mainly just kind of stay up like all the time and just take naps here and there. But like now that I feel like I have a tent, like now I feel like I'll be sleeping in here for hours and I feel like I live in a tent now. And it's just, I don't know. Kind of just makes me realize like, yeah, I'm 100% homeless now. Like I'm definitely not happy with where I'm at in life and I don't enjoy this whatsoever. Like I might seem happy and whatever, I try and make the best of what like it is, but it's killing me and it's killing my family. I miss my friends, I miss like my normal life. I miss working every day. I miss being free, I hate being a slave to this. So I don't want to do it anymore. Now there's no one to blame but myself. I'm the one that started doing them. I'm the one that continued doing them. No one like forced me to do it. Honestly, if I can't get clean at this point, I think I'd just kill myself. Like I can't do this anymore. Like I'm killing myself anyway, and why prolong it, right? Like I'm seriously like fed up with this. I can't do it anymore. I hate it.
Fentanyls this year. I saved up to go to a trip to Hawaii, and they enjoyed it. Hey, my kids, my wife. Hey, this was the best time here. It was me and my son. Hey, that's when it really hit me. I'm standing here from a year ago. I was down and standing. I was just walking around. Lost my truck. Lost everything. I had no more money. Thinking, how am I gonna get my next fix? And then, just the time with me and my son standing there, that made me really happy, eh? You know, that's what helped me, eh? It's thinking about it, eh? From a year ago to where now, like, I honestly thought I wasn't gonna change. I thought I was gonna keep smoking cigarettes, all that, but I've quit everything, eh? I've quit everything. Now my next goal is to just get off some oxygen, eh? That's the next step.
old was you when you started taking drugs?
When I first started taking dope and Valium and things like that, I was 12.
When I was 11, I started smoking dope.
When I
Valium and eggs and speed.
When I started taking heroin, I was 14. My mother started giving it to me.
I was 15 when I started taking heroin and crack.
Because I was homeless.
I was dealing with time I was 16 with my father.
I was homeless when I was 12. And when I was 14, I went back to live with my mother. And then 3 months gone by from my mother, I was taking heroin. She sent me to work in a parlour, a massage parlour, when I was 14, wasn't it?
That fucking was.
Yeah, when I was 14, she sent me to work in one of them.
That's the boss work, isn't it?
And all the money that I was doing, I was giving to her and not having it.
It's because people like us grow up with parents that are selling drugs and doing drugs. You learn with them.
Fuck.
You end up doing what your parents did because you think that's what's the norm, that's what's normality to you.
Amy probably all those Canadians calling forever.
It's just a little reminder to the world that she loves me.
He's my baby. I love him. We've been together nearly 4 years, haven't we?
Yeah, well, 3 years, 9 months.
I lied about my age when I got with him. I told him I was 16. I was only 15.
She did it when I was in jail.
2008, October last year. Yeah. I was on suicide watch 24/7. They made sure someone was with me all the time because I was depressed. I used to sleep with this red cap jumper covered into it. I never washed it. It smelled of it.
Don't, no, I
But that's a hard time. Don't we had a lot of trouble. We recently lost a baby. Timmy, can you have recently lost our baby?
Sort me open, go ahead.
Can we?
Still go better things.
No, I'm explaining. That's how we went downhill so rapidly.
Whatever,
I was 8.5 months pregnant. My baby was born stillborn. I had a little boy. And after that happened, we just started drinking really heavily. Didn't we, Dad? Because we never used to drink. You hated drinking, didn't you?
Yeah.
We started off drinking a little bit, and then when the baby died, that was it. Our heads went.
Would you like on that bed, please? Oh, man. That's fucking dirty one, like that.
Like that? Where's that filter? You're a dozy fucker. Like that. Like that. We're talking on fucking wall in I wish I'd said this when I was sober. I'm having to maintain myself. I'm seriously addicted, right? Just make sure you wait for me. I'll come into town with you, innit?
You meet you round the back of the YM, yeah?
I heard a definition many years ago about the difference between a North Walian and a South Walian. And the difference was between belt and braces. The South Walian always wore a belt, slung under his beer belly, and was a roistering, boisterous taffy. Whereas the North Walian always wore braces and hunched him forward as if he were forever plodding uphill. Most of the coal that was mined in the Swansea area and up the Swansea Valley was used in Swansea for the metal refining. Swansea was then at one time the major metal refining centre for the entire world. You know, that's an example from the old days where children were underground, and it was only about 1840 odd that they raised the age of children working underground to 12. But no, Mrs. Thatcher shut the lot down. It's awful when you think of the amount of skill and the amount of knowledge that was here, the knowledge base that they had here, and it all just withered away. Employment after the heavy industry went was not good. There was a short period in the 60s when there was quite a lot of work around. But that declined all through the 70s and the 80s until the late 90s. Yeah, that's played a part in the present drug problem, I think, in Swansea and the alcoholism. Of course, the system under which we live, the capitalist system, is so competitive, and it is a continual stress on the individual. And younger people, I feel, who can't get into the stream and can't compete and can't get work, just lose heart, and then they descend into a drug culture, and which is almost a subculture now.
Swansea, oh Swansea, Swansea City, living on the lamppost until the day died. Something like that, innit?
My name's Josie.
My name's Danielle Gray, and I'm from Swansea. We're stepsisters. There's 12 of us all together. There's me, Rachel, Kira, Rebecca, Tegan, Gemma, Emma, then it's Ryan, Reagan, Brandon, and Timmy and Tegan. And my daughter's name Courtney, 28th of the 5th, it's a bit fade at the moment.
Dad's there.
They've
I got Mum there.
You've got Rex missing name Leanne there, that's fucked it up.
I got my ex-girlfriend's name. I got my ex-boyfriend's name.
That's right now. Yeah, Mark. A guy got a daughter, she's 3 years old now. If you look there, there's a Cesarean from there to there. And she's every Tuesday between 10 and 12. She's brilliant. She always has, Mummy, Danny, where's my daddy to? I goes working away in Capri, he was in prison. He come out the other day like that. No, she doesn't want to see him and that. 2 days ago, my mother was a bit drunk and shit me, I hit her back. And she bit my nose from there to there.
What happened to your face first?
Fuck you,
I was
blood.
jumped by 2 girls, I was.
Yeah. Gone down rough, hasn't it? But now you got kids as age as 12 and 13. They're taking heroin. They know. Exactly.
They don't really care.
And
they get their money.
They won't care if like a 12-year-old or 11-year-old goes, oh, we've got a bag from their dad. Oh yeah, we've got a 10, yeah, use a bag and that. You mean? No, they should have more respect.
Right, you've got SANS, which is for over 18s, and SANDET down in Nash House for under 18s. This is a drug agency. They offer counselling, they can help you get on opiate prescribing, methadone, Subutex, Suboxone. Needle exchange, they do a men's day on a Wednesday, where you can go in and have some toast and tea, and just have a chat with all the boys in there.
Thanks, Lynn. Anybody here?
This is another counselling room, which we'd call a family room. First point of call would normally be the needle exchange, where we'd first engage with. A lot of them would actually come here, be asking for clean needles. And so we've got the cookers then, This is the most popular type needle. So this is a 1 mil syringe. You know, you hear about people drawing up water from puddles. We have got water ampoules as well, which you can put in a cup and mix with the heroin. People will still use whether we were here or not. You know, where there's a way, they will find a way to actually inject into your anus where there's lots of blood vessels close to the surface. People are beginning to inject crack now. Most people are still actually smoking it.
This is how complicated it is to get drugs, but this is to get crack. Basically, I have to get there, I'll ring him on the way, say I'm in a taxi, I meet him by a certain shop. Hello? Yeah? Right. No, I will come back. At 11:30, what's the time now? Right, alright, okay, I'll be there at 11:30. My drug work. I got a phone call on my medication because I'm banned from the building due to an incident. I've got to meet the lady outside there at 11:30 and she'll go through things with me. And it's involving my methadone prescription. It is. I'm on the way up in a taxi now, mate, yeah? I've got to be back by the YMCA at 11:30. So step on it, right? As they say in the films. Yeah, I take crack recreationally. It's not something I make a habit of doing. It's not physically addictive, so it's textbook is not physically addictive. I have come off it before and I have vomited blood. I drank 60 ml of methadone and then an hour later I injected 2 ml of Subutex, and I tell you what, it was one of the worst cold turkeys I've ever been through in my entire life. Any users who watch this program, never ever do that. I don't want to be vulgar, yeah, but you could have fitted a watermelon up my arsehole. That's how much it came out to me like piss. And I laid on my bed with my eyes like 50p pieces, the old 50p pieces. And then, oh yeah? Yeah, see, so that's the crack. Okay, Miss Andrew, right, love, I'm going to be about 10 minutes late, is that alright? Yeah, I know, but I've got to pick up a counter payment from the job centre, see? Yeah, no, this won't happen again, this is a one-off, is it? Yeah, I know, but please, I promise you, I'll be 10 minutes at the most late, but... Yeah, no, I didn't realise I was going to get a phone call saying to be at the job centre. You know, I got a phone call after I spoke to you, you know what I mean? I didn't realise this was going to happen. Okay, well, I'll be there. Okay, thanks. She brought it. Oh, Jesus. What's... This is why you've got to burn this first, get the toxicity out of it.